Boris, thank you very much for spending these minutes with me.
You're very welcome.
With your book, The Biology of Desire, Biologia Dorinței in Romanian. It is not, because desire is a very nice word, and usually we're putting it in a positive context. Usually, desire, craving.
Yes.
We are thinking of something nice and
Romantic.
pleasant, romantic. And yet, desire, the biology of desire, you have to use this phrase to describe the addiction. And when you put desire and addiction in the same phrase,
Same.
is not the same. Please explain to the white public, to the Romanian public, why have you chosen this precise word?
I thought a lot about the word, and whether you call it craving, desire, attraction, addiction, many things you could call it. It's because desire, when you think about it, is only nice when the desire is fulfilled, or has a chance to be fulfilled. And in the case of romantic desire, it's always about that. If there is no chance, if Romeo and Juliet have no chance, then it's not nice anymore.
True.
It's not a love story anymore if they have no chance, right? So we often think about desire in that way, but in the case of desire, when the goal is uncertain, if you don't know, if it doesn't seem that it doesn't seem that you're likely to achieve what you desire, then it's not a fun state, it's not a pleasant emotion at all. It's a kind of suffering.
Okay. Look, I will bring your subject to the Romanian field.
Okay.
In Romania, when we say about a person, when we describe a person, when we label a person as alcoholic, we are thinking usually at a male in a remote part of Romania, usually with low studies or no studies, low education. And usually this person is sometimes falling asleep on the street on the way home.
Yes.
We tend not to think as alcoholic at the same time. In the same year, 2025, at a businesswoman living in Bucharest with a nice position, nice academic studies, and yet drinking every night a bottle of wine, whiskey, by herself at home to numb the loneliness and lack of personal fulfillment.
Yes.
Why are we making this, I don't know, this definition, or why don't we define alcoholism in the same way for these two characters I have described?
There's so much about alcohol. Do you know there is quite a recent book called Drunk?
Yeah.
And there's another one called Drinking. And one of the themes of, I think it's the book Drunk, is actually a very, very thorough look at alcohol over human history for a few thousand years now. It has been very much a part of human culture, very much a lubricant of human culture.
Yeah.
So, long story short, there's a lot of ways that alcohol can be good, okay, not good, and very not good.
Okay. So there are layers.
So layers, and when you start to mix in socioeconomic status, right, then it's a whole very particular ballgame. Socioeconomic status, when you have a cheap, that is to say, an available intoxicant. It's not cocaine. It's not $100 a gram.
And it's legal.
And it's legal, right?
Anywhere.
Yeah. So it is the drug of necessity for people who have low status. And that's probably one reason why we have that stereotype.
Okay.
But as far as the other, there's a book called Drinking a Love Story. It's a really good book.
Okay.
It's written by a woman named Carolyn Knapp, Knapp, and she is an intelligent, intellectual, high-status woman who has a love affair with wine.
Okay.
And it didn't work out. She ended up killing herself, obviously after she finished the book.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very tragic story and a very deep analysis of what it's like for her, or for maybe the men, people like her.
Okay, but we tend to be more, I don't know, indulgent with the second character, I can describe, because of her social status.
Yeah.
Because first she's a woman,
Yeah.
a successful woman, a career woman with academic studies, living in a big city. And we tend to be a bit more indulgent, to close one eye. This is a direct translation from Romanian.
No, that makes sense.
Okay, but we are very judgmental with the male character from the countryside doing that.
It's
Why are
odd.
we?
It is odd when you think about it.
Yeah, but why are we as society? Why do we have this tendency?
Because it could almost as easily be the other way around. In other words, she may have more opportunities to not become alcoholic than he does. And if she has more opportunities, then she could be more the object of stigma.
Ah, okay, so when we are
Contempt.
looking at her from the outside, we are saying, she's not doing anything.
Yeah,
What's
why
her
should I
reason?
get what's her reason? Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So that makes me wonder why she gets the extra points.
That's interesting. So we have to go back to the ranking as we are
Yes.
ranking to people as society.
I think that's right, and I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine that socioeconomic status is so important maybe in Romania because, I don't know, just a guess, but the lineages that go across time, family status, family, coming from this kind of family or that kind of family, big deal.
Okay.
In America, the standard fairy tale, everybody can be anything, right? Of course we know it's bullshit, but it's still the dominant fairy tale.
Okay.
That's a very different context.
And one more question. This is the last question because in Romania, in this moment, everybody, the emotions and healing have become dinner subject for discussion. Everybody, whenever you sit
Do you mean
at the next table, everybody's talking about
About the therapy and
healing,
stuff?
about therapy. Everybody's an expert.
Right.
Everybody, yeah.
I get it.
Can this race for healing be an addiction? We are so obsessed with healing.
See, I
on
don't-
putting the blame on the parents, putting the blame on the past.
I don't like the word addiction very much, as you've already noticed.
Yes.
I don't even like it very much with respect to drugs and intoxicants and things like that because it's so misused.
Okay.
I mean, what does it mean, addiction?
Okay.
You know what I-
Obsession. Can I use obsession?
Yeah, I think you could use
We're
obsession.
obsessed with healing
Okay,
nowadays.
okay. I think that's a better choice of words.
Okay. And if I put the question this way, why are we so obsessed with healing these days?
Why?
And 10 years ago, we didn't have a clue that all kind of words and labeling existed.
I guess part of the stigma of having emotional problems has diminished.
Okay.
I would think. I mean, in my culture, my society, it's people who come to see me. A few of them might say, "Oh, you know, my friends are going to say, oh, you need to see a shrink. What the hell's wrong with you?" You know, but most of them not. Most of them don't say that anymore, and that again was the case 10 or 20 years ago, when that would be more an object of shame or humiliation.
Or
What's your
mocking, everybody was mocking in
yeah.
my face.
What's your problem? Like, grow out of it. Come on, you're a big boy, big girl, whatever.
Okay.
So now it's different. Now it's really different. Now, as you say, it's become an object of conversation. So I think it's a nice tidal transition in our cultural evolution. It's okay to be human, to be vulnerable, to have problems. What do you think?
That's a very interesting point of view because we have grown in a society. I like to say we have grown. My generation grew in the Sex and the City with the series
Yeah.
Sex and the City, and
Right.
all women had to be independent, strong, alone, of course. And now when you're telling me that it's okay to be weak sometimes, to be vulnerable other times, and to have problems other times, which is part of being human.
Yeah, and women and men wear it differently as well. I think it must be very hard to be a woman. I think I'm glad I'm not a woman because it must be very hard.
Why is that? Why do you think it's
I
harder?
don't know, because so many things. I mean, the obvious answer, cultural about sexism and generic systemic sexism is very obvious, and the different standards with respect to pay, with respect to the whole idea that child rearing is like something you do in your spare time. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, all that. And then on top of that, well, vulnerability. One advantage is that women have been allowed to be vulnerable emotionally more
Throughout history.
than men,
Okay.
right? In our Western cultures. Do you
Ah, yes, of course. We were allowed to faint. I mean,
Yeah.
we were appreciated for
Exactly.
being such sensitive nature.
Yes.
Okay.
The weaker sex, right?
Yeah. Okay. And one word for the Romanian public. Why should anyone read the book, even if they don't think this desire has not such a positive connotation in their own lives?
For that very reason. We want to understand it because it is troublesome.
Okay.
To read a book about how good everything is sounds pretty boring. I think. I like reading books, whether it's a novel or whether it's nonfiction, in which there is really big, horrible, grinding problems, and then the hero's journey gives a way out of it. The 5 stories in this book, the 5 quote addicts that I interviewed a lot in depth. One of them is now a good friend of mine. But they really struggle, and the stories are really high level drama.
Okay.
You know the expression, the hero's journey? These are hero's journeys.
Thank you very much for this interview, and thank you very much for writing this book and presenting it to the Romanian public.
My pleasure. You're welcome.